There's a quiet strength that has nothing to do with how much you lift or how loud you speak. It shows up in how you carry yourself when everything's uncertain, in how you respond when someone tries to provoke you, in how you move forward when everyone else is frozen by fear. This strength isn't inherited. It's not genetics. It's not luck. It's discipline, mental discipline, the kind that's built in the dark, tested under pressure, and revealed in moments when most men crumble. You've seen it. The man who stays calm while chaos swirls around him. The one who makes decisions while others are paralyzed. The one who doesn't need to prove his strength because you can feel it in his presence. That's not an act. That's the result of mental disciplines, practiced so consistently they've become who he is. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that physical strength fades, circumstances change, and external power is temporary. But a disciplined mind, that's permanent. That's the foundation everything else is built on. Most men chase strength in all the wrong places. They want the appearance of power without the internal structure to support it. They want respect without the character that earns it. They want stability without the discipline that creates it. But the strong men, the ones who last, who lead, who build legacies, they know something different. Strength isn't what you show the world. It's what you build in yourself when no one's watching. If you're ready to stop performing strength and start embodying it, stay with this. Because these 7 mental disciplines are what separate men who talk from men who transform. And if you're serious about that transformation, consider subscribing. For the part of you that's ready to build something unshakable, the foundation of real strength. Let's be clear about what strength actually is. It's not the absence of struggle. It's not never being tested. It's not having all the answers or never feeling afraid. Real strength is what remains when everything else is stripped away, when circumstances turn against you, when people disappoint you, when your plans fall apart. What's left standing when the storm passes? That's your true strength. And that kind of strength isn't accidental. It's engineered through discipline, through daily practice, through the unglamorous work of building mental fortitude one decision at a time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's the Stoic perspective on strength. It's not built in comfort. It's forged in resistance. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice discipline. Every setback is a chance to strengthen your mind. Every moment of difficulty is the training ground. The discipline deficit. Most men today have a discipline problem, not because they're lazy, though some are, but because they've never been taught what mental discipline actually looks like. They confuse discipline with rigidity. They think it means never enjoying life, never relaxing, never being human. So they reject it entirely. And in rejecting discipline, they reject the very thing that would give them the strength they're desperately seeking. But discipline isn't restriction. It's freedom. It's the framework that allows you to be powerful in chaos, clear in confusion, and steady when everyone else is shaking. The strong men you admire, the ones with unshakable presence, the ones who lead when it matters, the ones who build things that last, they all share these 7 mental disciplines. Not as rules they follow reluctantly, but as foundations they've built deliberately. These aren't theories, they're practices, and they work for anyone willing to implement them. Discipline 1. They guard their attention like it's sacred. The first discipline is the most fundamental. Strong men protect their attention with ruthless precision. They know something most people miss. Where your attention goes, your life follows. Your energy flows to what you focus on. Your outcomes are shaped by what you give mental real estate to. Weak men scatter their attention across everything, every notification, every opinion, every distraction. They're pulled in 1,000 directions and wonder why they never gain traction in any meaningful direction. Strong men are different. They treat attention like the finite, precious resource it is. Why this matters? You can't build anything meaningful with a scattered mind. Not a business, not a body, not a relationship, not a character. Everything of value requires sustained focus, and sustained focus requires disciplined attention. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Most men waste their attention on things that don't build them. Scrolling, arguing, worrying about things they can't control, consuming content that entertains but never elevates. And then they wonder why they feel weak, why they lack momentum, why they're not where they want to be. Strong men decide in advance what deserves their attention. They don't let circumstance or algorithm decide for them. Every morning, before anything else touches your mind, ask, what deserves my focus today? Not what's urgent, not what's loud. What actually matters to who you're becoming and what you're building. Then protect that focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Turn off notifications, close the tabs. Remove yourself from environments that drain attention. Create space where your mind can actually work on what matters. And when your attention wanders, because it will, notice it. Don't judge it. Just bring it back, again and again. That's the discipline, the constant return to what matters. Because while others are distracted by everything, you're focused on the one thing. And that focus compounds into power they'll never understand. Discipline 2. They practice delayed gratification daily. Strong men have trained themselves to choose long-term gain over short-term relief, every single day. This might be the discipline that separates the strong from the weak more than any other, because modern life is designed to destroy this capacity. Everything is instant, immediate dopamine, quick fixes, fast results. And weak men have adapted to this environment. They need instant feedback, immediate pleasure, quick validation. They can't sit with discomfort for even a moment without reaching for something to numb it. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And you can't be master of yourself if you're a slave to every craving, every impulse, every desire for instant gratification. Strong men understand that anything worth having requires sacrifice. Not someday, today. Not occasionally, consistently. They're willing to be uncomfortable now for the sake of being powerful later. They skip the immediate pleasure when it conflicts with their long-term vision. They endure the boring work that builds foundations. They say no to things that feel good but move them backward. Start small. Build the muscle. When you want to check your phone, wait 5 more minutes. When you want to quit the workout, do 1 more rep. When you want to skip the difficult conversation, have it anyway. When you want the easy dopamine hit, choose the hard work instead. Every time you delay gratification, you're depositing strength into a mental bank account, and that account compounds. Over time, you become someone who doesn't need instant results to keep moving, someone who can endure discomfort without breaking, someone whose discipline is so ingrained that temptation doesn't even register as a real option anymore. That's freedom. Not doing whatever you feel like. Being powerful enough to do what serves your vision, regardless of what you feel like. Discipline 3. They embrace discomfort as training. Weak men avoid discomfort. Strong men seek it out because they know something crucial. Comfort makes you fragile. When you only allow yourself to experience pleasant states, physical comfort, emotional ease, mental relaxation, you lose the capacity to handle difficulty. And life will always include difficulty. So you're preparing yourself to break. Strong men do the opposite. They voluntarily expose themselves to discomfort. Not because they're masochists, but because they're strategists. The Stoic method. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship regularly. Marcus Aurelius would sleep on the floor. Seneca would fast. They'd expose themselves to cold, to hunger, to physical discomfort. Why? To prove to themselves that they could handle it, to remove fear's power, to build resilience. They asked, "What if I lost everything? Could I survive?" And then they simulated that loss to discover the answer was yes. That practice removed the terror of potential suffering, because they'd already been there by choice and survived it. Build deliberate discomfort into your routine. Take cold showers, not forever, but long enough to prove you can override the urge to escape. Fast periodically. Experience hunger. Prove you're not controlled by every physical desire. Sit in silence without distraction. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Prove you can be alone with your thoughts. Do the hard thing first. The conversation you're avoiding. The work you're dreading. The decision you're delaying. Each time you choose discomfort voluntarily, you're expanding your capacity. You're building tolerance. You're proving that you're stronger than your circumstances. And when real hardship comes, and it will, you won't break. Because you've already practiced breaking and putting yourself back together. Discipline 4. They think long-term, not just next week. Strong men operate on timelines that weak men can't even comprehend. Weak men think in days and weeks. They optimize for immediate results, quick wins, instant validation. And because they're always chasing the short term, they never build anything that lasts. Strong men think in years and decades. They plant seeds knowing they won't see fruit for seasons. They make investments that won't pay off for years. They build foundations that won't be visible until the structure rises. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life." This isn't about urgency for urgency's sake. It's about perspective. When you zoom out to the end of your life, what matters? Not the quick dopamine hit, not the easy path, not the comfortable choice. What matters is whether you built something worth remembering, whether you became someone worth being. Strong men keep that perspective always. They ask, will this decision matter in 5 years, in 10, at the end of my life? And if the answer is no, they don't waste energy on it. Before making any significant decision, ask, what does this look like in 5 years? That habit costs you nothing, but it changes everything. The short-term choice. Skip the workout, I'm tired. The long-term view. In 5 years, do I want a body I built or one I neglected? The short-term choice. Avoid the hard conversation, it's uncomfortable. The long-term view. In 5 years, do I want a relationship based on honesty or avoidance? The short-term choice. Take the easy money, ignore the ethics. The long-term view. In 5 years, do I want a reputation I'm proud of or one I have to defend? Think long, build slow. Trust the compound effect of disciplined decisions made over years. While others chase quick wins, you're building an empire, and empires aren't built in weeks. Discipline 5. They control their response, not circumstances. This is the discipline that defines Stoicism itself. Strong men focus exclusively on what they can control and release everything else. Weak men exhaust themselves trying to control the uncontrollable. They want perfect circumstances. They need people to behave a certain way. They demand life to be fair. And when reality doesn't comply, which it never does, they break. Strong men know better. They know that circumstances are largely outside their control. But their response? That's entirely within their power. Epictetus was clear. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. Up to you, your effort, your attitude, your character, your preparation, your response, your values. Not up to you, outcomes, other people's choices, circumstances, the past, what people think of you, whether life is fair. Strong men invest 100% of their energy in the first category. They don't waste a single ounce on the second. This doesn't make them passive. It makes them strategic. It makes them powerful in situations where others feel powerless. When you feel stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, stop. Ask one question. What part of this is actually in my control? Then redirect all your energy there. Can't control whether they hire you? Control your preparation and how you show up. Can't control how people respond to you? Control how you treat them and what you stand for. Can't control the outcome of the situation? Control your effort and your integrity within it. This single question, repeated daily, applied consistently, will transform your entire relationship with stress, because you'll stop bleeding energy into battles you can't win, and you'll start channeling that energy into the one thing that actually shapes outcomes: yourself. Discipline 6. They build through action, not endless planning. Strong men have a bias toward action. They understand something weak men miss. Clarity comes through doing, not through thinking about doing. Weak men get stuck in analysis paralysis. They research endlessly. They plan obsessively. They wait for perfect conditions. They need absolute certainty before moving. And while they're waiting, life passes them by. Strong men move before they're ready. They act with incomplete information. They adjust in motion rather than waiting for perfection before starting. The Stoic momentum. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the discipline, not endless contemplation. Action, implementation, movement. Because here's the truth. You don't think your way into a new way of acting. You act your way into a new way of thinking. Every action you take, especially imperfect action, generates data, feedback, learning, momentum. And momentum is what actually creates transformation. The practice. Adopt the 24-hour rule. If you decide something needs to be done, take the first step within 24 hours. Not the whole thing, just the first step. Want to start a business? Don't wait until you have the perfect plan. Register the domain today. Want to get in shape? Don't wait until Monday. Do 20 push-ups right now. Want to have a difficult conversation? Don't overthink it for weeks. Schedule it today. The first step is never perfect. It doesn't need to be. It just needs to be taken. Because strong men understand that imperfect action beats perfect inaction every single time. And the man who's willing to move, even messily, will always outpace the man waiting for certainty. Discipline 7. They practice daily self-examination. The final discipline is what keeps all the others sharp. Strong men examine themselves honestly, every day. Weak men avoid self-reflection. They don't want to see their failures, their weaknesses, their hypocrisies. So they never improve. They repeat the same patterns year after year and wonder why nothing changes. Strong men do the opposite. They're ruthlessly honest about where they fell short, where they reacted poorly, where they compromised their values, where they could have done better. Not to punish themselves, to improve. The Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius kept a journal, not for publication, for himself, to process his thoughts, to hold himself accountable, to recalibrate. Seneca recommended a daily review. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. That practice, 10 minutes of honest reflection, kept some of history's most powerful men grounded, humble, and continuously improving. Build a nightly review ritual. 5 questions. 1. Where did I maintain discipline today? 2. Where did I lose discipline? 3. What triggered me and how did I respond? 4. What could I have done better? 5. What will I focus on improving tomorrow? Write it down. Don't just think it. Writing forces clarity. This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about honest assessment, about closing the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. Because the man who can see himself clearly, without delusion, without excuse, is the man who can change himself deliberately. And deliberate change, compounded over years, creates a strength that looks like magic to everyone else. But you'll know the truth. It was discipline, daily, unglamorous, powerful. These 7 mental disciplines aren't separate practices. They're a system. They reinforce each other. They compound. When you guard your attention, you have the focus to practice delayed gratification. When you embrace discomfort, you build the tolerance for long-term thinking. When you control your response, you gain the clarity for decisive action. When you act consistently, you generate the data for honest self-examination. When you examine yourself honestly, you know where to guard your attention. It's a cycle, a discipline loop that strengthens with each revolution. The strong men you admire aren't gifted with these capacities. They built them, one discipline at a time, one day at a time, through years of unglamorous, repetitive practice that nobody saw. And now they move through the world differently, calmer, clearer, more certain, more powerful. Not because nothing challenges them, but because they've disciplined themselves to meet challenges from a position of internal strength. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." These disciplines are how you become master of yourself. Not through intensity, through consistency. Not through perfection, through practice. You don't need all 7 tomorrow. You need 1 today. Then another next week. Then another next month. Build slowly. Build deliberately. Build permanently. Because the man you're becoming doesn't appear overnight. He's constructed through discipline, through time, through the quiet work nobody celebrates, but everyone eventually respects. So here's the question to carry forward. Which discipline are you missing? And what would change if you built just that one? Not all 7 at once. Just one. The one that would make the biggest difference in your life right now. Maybe it's guarding your attention from the constant noise. Maybe it's practicing delayed gratification instead of seeking instant relief. Maybe it's embracing discomfort instead of avoiding it. Maybe it's thinking in years instead of weeks. Maybe it's controlling your response instead of your circumstances. Maybe it's taking action instead of endless planning. Maybe it's examining yourself honestly instead of living in delusion. Pick one. Start today. Practice it until it's automatic. Then add another. The quiet work you do today, building these mental disciplines when no one's watching, when there's no applause, when it feels boring and unglamorous, that's the work that creates the strength everyone will eventually see. Stay focused, stay grounded, and remember, strength isn't loud. It's not performed. It's not inherited. It's disciplined, daily, deliberately, until it becomes who you are. Build the disciplines. Become the man.